Yes, thank you, David. There was problems with the warp storm. Yeah, we've sent out some interceptors to sort that. So good. All right. So we'll try that again. So welcome to the show. This time with audio. Yeah, I'll charge you extra at the end. So what we have now is as part of Adepticon at home, I'm going to be doing a demo about how I come up with my table concepts. So to give that some context, it was all based on a book that I did last year called Dreamlands. I'll just give you a quick share of that here. So it was based on the idea of, just move that over. It was based on the idea that came about from Inktober, which is something on Twitter where artists are encouraged to produce an ink drawing every day in October based on a random word. So I took it into me to be that could be an inspiration for a war games table, mainly Age of Sigmar fantasy, which is my passion. But so what I've done is I produced a sketch every day and shared it, and then later on I inked them up and turned them into a book. I'll just show you a few of these now. It kind of gives context about what we're all going to try and do together. So what we have here is the word roasted. So if you look in the top left, hopefully it's going to be good enough quality on mobiles or small devices. We've got the word roasted. So on this table, it's very much about lava based, floor is lava, like that one, but with conical towers and sort of ancient dwellings living in there. More. Oh, this was quite a favourite of mine. The word was number 5 from Inktober, and that was chicken. And I had the idea that actually we're going to have these giant terror birds charging across the battlefield, and you couldn't kill them, but they could stamp on you. You were so small and insignificant, it didn't really matter. So it was actually about dodging between their feet to fight the enemy on the other side, and they just kept coming. Big birds, small birds, and the idea of these tables was not just the fact that it was a pretty looking table, it was about adding some elements of gameplay so that you felt like, yeah, I could game on that, and there was going to be an interactive experience with the table. The table was going to have as much life and special rules as all your armies you bring along. I'll give you another couple of examples. Lake of Filth. So the fun thing about this project, and I'd like to share it as well today, is that we don't really need to worry too much about real world considerations, like how much it's going to cost to make, how you're going to store it. We don't have warehouses, unfortunately, or even real world physics. I think we can park those for a bit. So it's all about making a cool gaming experience based on a word. So I'll share a couple more. This one was exhausted. So again, the words can be quite challenging in what you do. So I had an exhausted mine. Temple, and this was based on the word star. So I want you to all be having a think about what words you want to do. And the way we're going to run this mechanic is, I'd like you guys to deluge the chat with words. Can we keep it reasonably family show, please? Or practical. But in the same way, you don't need to share the word, Uruk encampment in Gur. Let's let that come out. And then as I come up with ideas and I share with you how I find these ideas and how I find my reference, I'd be really keen for you guys to sort of throw some things back in the chat, which is why I've got my able assistant here, and he'll be able to pick them out while I'm doing the colouring in. Someone says, why are there not more spiders in the tables? Well, okay, this could be the day, Paul. This could be the day that spiders appear. So, and one thing I'd like to say is that this is a total experiment, and we shall see how it works. I'm finding my way around, as obviously the sound worked out, even though we did practice on it. So I think, if this works and people enjoy it, then what we'll do is we'll do some more. Well, whilst we're all locked up, I hope everyone is safe and well and doing okay. So we've got some words coming in already. That's great. And I think what we'll do is, I'll pick probably 3 or 4, and we'll put those up. And then what we'll do is let everybody have a vote, and using the advanced technical tool of Ben's eyeball, we'll work out which it is you like the most. We may add some polling software later, but right now it was keep it simple. Let's see if we can get this thing out. So another quick chat just to put out to people is as long as people can see the screen okay. So if I just go back to where I'll be drawing. So what we have here, I use Adobe Illustrator for this. And what I'll be doing is I'll be first of all putting down a sketch. And the sketch will be very loose. And I've just got it in this blue colour. And I think what that'll do is then that means we can then ink over the top. And then once we've got our inking in sorted, we can add some colour. And then hopefully we'll end up with something that looks pretty similar to what I produced for the book. And it's something that we've all come up with and we've all made together. So without further ado, one thing I'd like to say is we've been very lucky and we get the support from a couple of people. So first of all, I'd like to give a shout out to Dark Fantastic Mills. That was happy to adapt, change, improve, print more of the stuff, and also print stuff for me. So that's a big shout out. And also a shout out to Pro Painted Studios. They're also a big supporter of the show. And I think what we'd like to say is that if you want, so just explain who they are. Dark Fantastic Mills make cinematic gaming tables, the elements, pieces, walls, walkways, mushrooms, anything weird, beautiful stuff, comes straight out of the box, even supply painted if you ask nicely. And Pro Painted Studios, they produce gaming aids, so that's all the markers, all the rulers, all the turn counters that you should possibly need, plus also custom orders they do as well. And we've been very lucky in that we've got a couple of special codes that we're going to share with you probably about halfway through. And it'll give you some discount, so if you've got some spare pennies and you can support them, then that would be great. So we're getting some good words through, and we've got 19 people currently on watching, which is fantastic, so that's great. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to have a quick look through. I think what we'll do is we'll give everyone, we're going to give it another minute, and what I'll do is whilst that's going on and Ben's putting it through the advanced Cray 4 computer, I'm just going to show you one of the tools that I use. So I use Pinterest a lot. So for me, what Pinterest does is it's a way of collecting reference. Now, of course, you can go to the internet, you can go to Google Images, Google Searches, and you can download them and put them in places. I think for me, this tool's probably a little bit cleverer than that in what we can do. So if I go to the Bone Haulers one here, and hopefully you should be able to see my cursor. So this is my Bone Haulers collection, and what we've got here is it's a combination of it can be physical images, so physical things I want to copy, some shapes, some inspiration for sort of design techniques. So that would be something like these locos. I mean, I've still got dreams of making a giant aircraft carrier that you would be able to land all the normal sky vessels on. Sorry, just a quick catch up for those that don't know. Bone Haulers. Bone Haulers, if you search for hashtag Bone Haulers on Twitter, it's my latest project. That's a Caradron Overlord's Army for Age of Sigmar, based on the principle that certain places in the realm, certain cities need product and they need it fast, and that's what they're going to do. So they're kind of, the idea is that they collect bone, they deliver it fast. So for me, I needed a look to my army that was sort of different from how it comes out of the box. And I think for me that's where you kind of look for other inspiration. So I looked for something that was a bit more utilitarian, so it was a bit more transport. I mean, here's a great example. And I think for me, it's looking for those elements. And then also you can use it in other ways. So you can use it for textures, you can use it for finishes. So I was at one time looking about, are my ships going to be, really, really sort of utilitarian? They're going to be super not really cared for. Somebody's get the job done. And so I was exploring rusts on ships and how does that look like. So I've got that reference here. I decided not to in the end, but also it allows me to collect in the same place. What do bones look like? So what could giant bone sites look like? And I think this is a good example here of how you can use this tool, use Pinterest for what you do. And that yes, you start off at the top here with the image you found, But then what you can do is, if I press the right button, what you can do is you'll get shown all the other items that Pinterest thinks that you would like to see. So actually you kind of get a filter put on your first idea, and what you can do is you can quite nicely fall down the rabbit hole, in that you'll just go, oh, well, that's quite interesting there, what's that? Oh, that's cool. It's not really bone anymore, or is it? Maybe we do call it bone. But what does that then mean? We then go down and go, oh, look, we've got all these other beautiful bits of artwork, concept art here. And it's easy enough. When you're ready, you can just go hit it in the corner, press save, and you can save it to there, or you can go onto a different journey. So I think for me, great tool. And what we'll do is we'll use that today. So if I just get back to me. And you can find me if you want to have a look. Now, to be fair, I do have some secret boards. So they're projects that I'm not ready to share with you. But there's still plenty here that you can look at. So you can find that on pinterest.co.uk/devilreefman. So I think if my able assistant here can pop that in. No, so pinterest.co.uk/man. Okay, so right, I think we're going to call it now. So we've got a big collection of words, so I'm just going to get a digital card output from the computer here. So what do we got here? We've got loads. So we've got some really good ones, some challenging ones. So I think salvation, whoever that was, that's a great word. Yes, go on then. I'm going to put it in. So that's one of the three. I'm going to pick three, and then you lot get to choose. Cheeky one from Dave Fraser there. We've got Polynesian. Yeah, he's playing to the crowd. No, we're not going to have that one. That's too easy. Undulating is interesting. Freedom. Opposite of isolation.
I was Ming.
Opposite, yes, thank you, Ming. The dictator challenges the proles as it is. Right. So we're going to go with drop. I don't know what to do with that, but we're going to have drop. And then we're going to have... Ooh, I'm going to give Ben a choice. What do you reckon?
Give me a choice.
Yeah.
Let's go with blood.
Blood, right. Okay, so I'm now just going to put these up here, and I'm going to ask you again to... I'm just going to put these in here to remind everybody. Just put that in there. So, and we've got... Teams this table are blood, drop, and salvation. Right. So hopefully you can now see that on the screen, and if everyone could now pick their favourite of those three. So one of the things I found this really good fun to do for myself is kind of allows me to explore things that it's the same for everyone else that has army list ideas. You can have 10 army list ideas in the day, all of them 2,000 points, and ultimately you end up with you don't have to buy it, you don't have to paint it, and this is the same for me with tables. But sometimes the tables will help define an army, if that's strange. I suppose for me, if I talk about my process, that I'm not really going to make an army unless I know I've got a table that themes it, or at least there's some elements to go with it. It's a personal thing. I just find it helps bring the army to life, and that doesn't have to be kind of completely off the wall, strange, all new directions. It could be something as simple as taking a story from Black Library or from one of the battle tomes from Age of Sigmar, and then trying to recreate that. So whether that's from the early days, I made a sky oak, a flying sky oak that was from Realm of Life. and for me that then allowed me to then bring an army to life using that. And I think for me this can be as simple. It doesn't have to be extravagant 6x4 tables or floating things or electrics or smoke or whatever. I think for me it could be as simple as objective markers for your army, or a different type of banner, or a way to frame your hero, your general for your army. So I think for me there's lots of ways of doing this, and sometimes it's like, for me, I'm a good painter. I'm not the best painter, but just watching top level painters do their stuff, for me it's just like mind blowing about what they can do, and it inspires me to do other things. So I think for me the idea with the book and I'm doing now is just to inspire people to have some fun with it. So we're getting some in. There's quite rightly there is a delay between what I say and what I see on screen, so we're just going to manage that. So just to be super clear here, so what we're going to do is it's going to be an Age of Sigmar gaming table. So what does that mean? Actually, that's a good question. Good question, Steve. He asked himself. A gaming table. So that doesn't mean it's a diorama. It doesn't mean it's a fixed thing, in the sense that I've got to make sure that it's a practical thing to play games on. So what does that mean? That means you're going to have to be able to have room for the troops to move about. You've got to have the consideration that some of the troops might have really big bases if they're monsters or lords or creations like that. So you can use that, actually. You can use that in some way, in that you can design a table where monsters can move about, but there are places that people can hide. Physically the base can't get near it. The reach of that creature is only 2 inches and they're 4 inches away, and they're safe from attacks. So that's the other way of thinking it. But ultimately, you've got to be able to play a game on it. Is it going to be a balanced game? No, probably not. You're not going to have a hill in each corner, and a house in each corner, and some trees in the middle, and off you go, and it's balanced. No, and that's fine. Lots of people like to play balanced. That's great. I think for me, I'm going to say that the way I like to play, and luckily some people I know like to play, is that we'll have a super themed table. The objectives we'll fight over will not be arbitrary places. They're going to be actually be things that make sense. We're going to fight over the mill because it's the ford over the river or whatever. So I think we've probably got quite a few in now.
Got 7 votes in.
7 votes in out of 20. That's not too bad. I'm going to call that. And thank you very much. You've all graciously picked the tricky one. So that's fine. I was prepared for that. And thank you very much for everyone for voting. So we have the word, I think, salvation is those.
We've got 4 for salvation, 2 for job, and 1 for blood.
Right. Okay. So I think we're going to call it salvation. So what does salvation mean? Right. So I think we'll just. So what does salvation mean to me? So I think for me there's different angles here. Salvation. So here's a really good thing. We'll look it up on the internet. So let's have a quick look at what salvation says. So. Back to So, preservation or deliverance from harm, ruin, or loss. Deliverance from sin or its consequences, believed by Christians to be brought about by faith in Christ. So, preservation or deliverance from harm, ruin, or loss. Okay, so for me, instantly, deliverance from harm or loss. So, actually, I think we're talking about movement. I think we're talking about a table that's going to move. Something's got to move. So the harm's got to move. The ruin has got to move. And if you don't do something about it, you're going to be lost. So I've taken that definition, and now we've broken it down to those simple things. So, do we want to align this with the godlike deliverance by God? Doesn't have to be. So which God? And in Age of Sigmar we've got plenty to think about. And salvation doesn't necessarily mean to be, protection of good from evil. If evil were being pursued and overrun and going to be caused harm and have loss, then they would have salvation if they were lifted out of that. So I think, again, it's how can you look at a word and, we don't have to have a church here or a temple. We could, I don't know. So I think for me, what that means is what does that mean? So at the moment we're talking about some movement. And also, that salvation or deliverance could be from another God. So, was it actually being able to save ourselves? No, I think so. I think it has to be some other thing. So salvation is what we've got. So I think we can now start thinking, and we're thinking about movement, and we're thinking about harm or ruin. So one question is, do we have one army that is going to be looking for deliverance, or are both armies in the way of harm? And then it's a chance that only one army can get salvation. So I quite like that idea.
Got some ideas coming.
Okay, so yeah, go on.
So David was saying amazing thing of flagellants.
Yep.
So the few people seem to be feeling that. Ming was saying Walking Statue Fortress Church.
Walking Statue Fortress Church. TM, quite quick. Write that up. What I should do for anyone that's joining us, I should just quickly change the words here. This table is. This table is salvation. Is there anyone joining us? Walking Temple, Fortress Church. It has to be in that order, I guess, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. Yes, okay. I think walking. So I guess the question is, do we want to have churches there? Then I think probably it feels like a good win. And then so let's maybe think about the movement. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go back to our table here. So hopefully everyone can see that clearly. I'm just going to go in our sketch level and delete these. So remember, we can play the game obviously this way, and we can play the game that way. But the other thing we can think about is we can play the game this way. So I suppose for me is, can we think of a way that's actually going to be that we want that salvation seems to come right at the end. We're the last gate. We're literally the last few standing, and it's only the most righteous that will be saved. So I think actually I'm beginning to think that we should probably have something that is sort of somebody's in the middle, and then everything else is happening to it. I think for me that feels like a good way to do it, and that salvation is going to end up being this tiny little zone in the middle, and maybe it could be within the walls of this Walking Statue Fortress Church. If you're within the grounds, that is sacred. That is the only place it can be. So we've got some more flagellant stuff. So I think, okay, we are thinking zealots. We are thinking we do want some religion here. So I think that's okay. So maybe what we need to do now then is maybe what I would do now is let's go back to Pinterest. And what we're going to do is now search for ruined church. Okay. So, what do all these different churches mean then? So, what am I looking for? So, I suppose at the moment I'm looking for shapes, silhouettes, forms that are going to be good for what I want. I mean, there's something very simple and classic in here, and I guess for me, so actually I'm going to save that to board, new, and I'm going to call this salvation. Create. Salvation. So, I think I'll just save that to forest, might you? Oh, this is interesting. Actually, you might be able to see create. Okay, we're having a bit of a failure here, but we'll just pop that in forest for now. So what I'm doing is looking for shape. So one question is, should this place be very grand to start with, or is it actually by its nature that it's maybe very old and very ruined is what makes it quite so holy? So, you know, we've got things like this, which is literally just an archway in a field with some sheep. Sheep are optional, obviously. But I think for me, if we're going to have it walking church,
Paul's had a good idea about what you said about flipping it with the good and the bad, where the flagellants are actually chasing Nighthorn off.
okay, so the night haunts are looking for salvation from
They're trying to escape to the deer, is what he's saying.
Okay, salvation's right. Okay, I like that. So I like the twist. The unexpected. So actually, then, so the place that the portal, the place they're going to be able to get through. I've not parked Walking Fortress Temple Eagle, whatever it's called. So that's not don't. Well, I think the thing to do is try and keep as many of the ideas in your head as you can. So if they're going to be chased, so could there be that the flagellants are chasing them because it's actually their holy site? But if the night haunts, if ghosts if they're able to do something, break something, they can turn it into a portal. So what we're trying to do now is trying to add some objectives to one of the armies. So perhaps we're going to have maybe there's 3 tombs. Yeah, 3 is good. 5's too many. 3 is good. So we have 3 tombs. If they can break the tombs, they can convert the flow of the chapel of the centerpiece. So right. So let's go back to our. So let's just sketch in here. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3. So these places here, they're going to be an objective. If the ghosts can destroy these, activate them, do something to them, that they will then turn this place, this location here, into a place to escape. So here's a really cool thing. What if these have to be aligned? So if they can align these 3 things, then what you have then is the chapel, the centerpiece. So we can then have actually design some pieces that are movable. You know, you can move parts of the statues around. So so that's quite cool. So I think for me, we've now got some activity here. We know that the Nighthawk army needs to get into the chapel centre, but it's no good getting there unless they've done something else. Again, mechanic here is Nighthawks can be quite quick. They can fly. They can fly through things. We don't want this to be a game where turn 2 they use command points to run and everyone's in the middle. Bye. So I think so. We've got someone here. Could objectives be entrances to the central chapel? Yes, they could. So actually, maybe this whole table's the chapel. So I'll tell you something I've been thinking about. What if we kind of take this up a notch? As in, if we just take this here, let me move it up a notch. But actually, what we have is a table that's like this. And then what happens is the table can crumble. So these places will remain as towers. And these can be entrances. Yeah, David, we've not kind of got that nailed yet. But in the middle here, we have the walking fortress church.
David was saying earlier about possibly multiple heights platforms like down to the circle.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Yes. So let me. Yes, we'll use that. So an idea then perhaps is that as everybody runs for it, because of the closeness of evil to the chapel, that we can then have these crumbling bits of table that we will literally take away, and they'll come away as wedges, and they'll come away as wedges that we can put back in again. So I think then that's pushing everyone into the centre, and what's left will be this rubble, these three pillars, and then you can walk away or go to the thing. So, okay, so I think what we've got there is catacombs. Yes, collapsing catacombs. Right. I can see Paul's maybe going. Catacombs need spider webs, need spiders, but we will hold that thought for a minute. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a moment and I'm just going to add in our sponsors. So, just to remind you that if you're looking for some scenery or some gaming parts for your table, some gaming aids, then you can check out these guys. Okay, technical failure. Someone chose too big a word. If we can fix this. Right. Good job I'm not a designer, isn't it? There we go, fixed it. So, if you want to save some money on an order from Fantastic Meals, then you can use Adepticon 2020. If you want to save some money on your order with Pro Painted Studios, you can use Adepticon at home. So I'll keep that there. So anyone who fancies it, and please enjoy. And I think for me, although we're designing a custom table here, so much of the Dark Fantastic range you can include, and they just make a big difference to your table setups. Right. So somebody said here is becoming an Indiana Jones crumbling temple. I always think that's a good start for any gaming table. Anything that starts with Indiana Jones. Cracking movies. Although they got dafter as you went on, I think for me, a sense of scale and adventure and action. So what we're trying to do here with this table is we've got something here that's hopefully it's not going to be static. It's going to be moving. So I've got about 25 minutes left, so I'd better start drawing. But what we'll do is we will just go quickly back to here. And so I think what we probably want to do is we probably want to look at cathedrals. We want to look at something a bit bigger. Oh, my box. No, that's completely the wrong person. Fail. Oh. Right. Here we go. Right, so we've got scale here, and I think for me that's one of the things that Age of Sigmar is all about. So I think what we'll do is we'll do floor plan. So let's go floor plan. Right. So what we have here is some really good, and we've suddenly got 3 points. So if we look on this one, we've got these 3 chambers on afraid my religious knowledge has suddenly run aground. So we've got these 3 chambers that go all around this thing. So I think for me that's the starting point. That's going to be the starting point. So we're going to have. So let's just ink. So we're going to need to move these. So I'm going to start with another sketch. So another sketch. And we're going to have one here, one here, one here, one here. Push those off, one here. So we need to keep our height. So I think actually, do we probably want it to be pretty much everything happening inside this? So we're going to have some pillars. And maybe what we have is we have, the starting army coming in here. The fact that the 3 objectives that are here, here, and here have to be done whilst you're getting swarmed by all the flagellants. So let's put that back in there. And then we've got it all crumbling. I mean, again, once you play this table, there will always be other ways that, you play it the other way around. The flagellants come in from these parts, and it's about getting away that way. Or I think for me, always just think about, although this is a virtual makeup table, always think about, whenever you're thinking about your table, is about, well, what if I did this, and what if I changed that around, or turn that upside down? So I think for me, that's probably a pretty good start for that. I suppose I want to have a quick look at some architecture, just to make sure I've got those stars right. Ben, have we got anything else?
People seem to have run off with an idea of sheep spider flagellants.
Sheep spider flagellants. Yes, I can see that working.
Because it's a combination of sheep-themed tables, lots of slaughter, everyone wanting spiders, and then the fact there's only flagellants.
Right.
Comboed.
Okay, I think that might have to be for another day. We're a little bit too far down, and we've only got 20 minutes left. So yes, thank you. We'll definitely put that in the list. So I think for me, what we can do here with this table is, if we're looking at these arches and domes, I think I still want it to have a sense that it's half practical to play on. So I think what we'll do is I'm going to start inking stuff in. So I think what we can do is we can probably start with, let's just have some hints at this scale of this place. And I'm going to put our floor in, because we kind of want our crumbling floor. Okay. So we're going to have these sort of tall. This one's important here because this is obviously our entrance. So we're going to need a bigger board. So 2 seconds, fix that. Okay. So and then we've got room to sort of play in it, and then we just need some pillars. So the cool thing, pillars are always great fun in that they kind of give you something to fight in and around. It means you can't always get everybody in the fight that you want to get in the fight. And I think for me, that's anything that's tables interacting with you in that way. I think that's got to be a good thing. So I think if we're going to have here, so we probably just want a bit of a grid down. like I said, this is super loosey-goosey. We're just putting down the idea here. So, show this one right there. And then what we would do normally for this sort of thing is it would just be a matter of sort of share the idea, if this was actually a project. I think the other thing what this allows you to do is go away, and one of the things I like to do, so before I've even broke out the foam cutter, anything complicated like that, it's going to be getting bits of card, so it can be carton, it can be cereal carton, bits of old board, bits of old Amazon delivery box, whatever it is. But to actually make the right footprints, the right silhouettes for all this stuff. And I think what it allows you to do then is it allows you to just put it down on the floor, on the table, and just say, you know, what is it going to look like? You know, what can I fit here? What can I actually do here? What troops can actually get about here? And I think for me, what that does is that gives you the chance to just say, "Oh dear, you know, I've got 12 columns in this area here. You know, is it better to just have 4 large ones, or is it okay to have this many?" So I think for me, it really is just sort of learning through that, and it will save you a lot of heartache of making all this stuff only to have it kind of need to be chucked away. So I think what we're going to do here is I think we're going to have probably some sort of statue, font, or some sort of arcane device. It's going to need to have a pointer, a direction on it, so we can have an arrow thing there. And then we're going to do the same with this one. And maybe because this is maybe the archway, entranceway that David mentioned, and that will have that as the archway. And then I'll have another one here. And these don't need to be the same, they're literally just. And then one at the back here. So, anything people adding? Apart from any other farmyard animals?
No, it doesn't seem to be. Oh wait. The salvation be a stairway to heaven with the round gate at the top. The whole thing is crumbly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think yeah. Okay. So what we could do then is we could have here. So let me just do my other archway. So let's just. We'll just put in a standard round gate for now. Obviously, other ones are available. And let's put this in here. So we're just literally, this is not a polished drawing, this is literally giving us a sense of size, proportions, what do these things mean. And I think what we can start to do is we can start to see, you know, how's this going to work. So, you know, these are going to be objectives. So we're going to catch into those in a minute. These are the archways. So this could be, you know, where the flagellants are coming. And actually, because if we've got, you know, we've got this sort of ornate floor, flagstone floor, then for me that then feels like quite a natural way for it to break up. So we can then, in a minute, have a look about, you know, how does that work? How does that look? So just building lights up now. Sometimes it's quite good just to chuck a bit of colour in behind so we can see what's going on. So I shall first of all drop down some grey underneath, so that's blotting out some of our lines underneath. I'll probably have a bit of lighter grey this side. And again, we're just throwing in these and a bit of a darker one this side. So we've decided the light's coming from over here. And then what we can do is probably going to select, see if we can select through these lights. So I'll just hide that from there. So let's just flesh in, actually let's flesh in some of this. So what we do is we just pick that colour there, because we know that's going to be come in here. Some of our shadow areas down our columns. I think what we want to do is we don't want to forget the idea of the crumble. So what we can do, I'll just duplicate some of these layers for now. And you can always come back to them. Don't forget to save, kids. So what we'll do here is we'll just come in here and control shape. Need some more tools. We have lost. We've lost the screen for a moment, sorry, I'll be right back. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to so delete that, and we can bring this to the front. And what it allows us to do now is we can come in here, delete all this. I think what we begin to see is what happens when we take this segment out. I think what we can do is
Missing out the string.
oh. Oh. Doing so well. Okay, folks, sorry about this. We just seem to have lost screen. So we will try and get you back. Right, so yes, that seems to have disappeared. Not entirely sure why. I'm going to try and just do another complete scene with just that window, so hold fire. Okay, so yes, we kind of lost the stream there. Seem to have lost the screen. It was connected. You could see it working, I promise you. So let me just try one more thing. So, yeah, that's all I'm getting to. I'm sorry about that, folks. So I think what we'll do is we'll probably have to call it there. Sorry about that. I will finish this and I will post it on Twitter, so you can find that. I think for me, so some feedback was about, yes, to talk through. Yeah, so I think for me, it's getting it together, it's pulling it together in such a way that you kind of go, that would be a fun table to play on. That would be something that I would say, yes, that works. It'd be incredibly complicated to make. It would be incredibly complicated to transport, but it would be fun to play on. So I think if you like the idea of that and you like the idea of the stream, and if I can get it working, then feedback would be great. I think what we can do is obviously get a bit more polished about it. If you would like to see some of the other stuff I work on, so not just the drawings, but the modelling and the 3D stuff that I'm beginning to learn, then you can find me on Patreon. So Patreon is a way that you can spend $2 a month and get to see all my thinking behind everything from making 3D imaginary things from stuff that I've drawn, to reason why I make army is you'll get to see all my mistakes. So you can find that on patreon.com/footworks. Also, if you look at footworks.co.uk, there's a project vault there, and in the project vault is some of the mad creations I've had. So if you're stuck with things to do, where we are right now, then go and have a wander around there. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that turned up. Sorry I didn't quite get to the end, but hopefully you found it useful, working out how I pick something, how I develop it, and then how I bring it to life. So thank you very much, guys, and hope to see you soon. Bye.